right, we're here with Mr. Matchroom himself. I know we talked to him earlier in the week, but it's in person now, so it's a little different.
It feels a bit weird. Normally it's a Zoom.
Yeah, normally it's somewhere in your island, in your vacation home.
I'm a bit nervous.
You should be. You should be. This is Brooklyn too. We didn't know you was that tan.
I know. Yeah, I know.
He looking
anytime
good.
I'm British, anytime there's any sun.
Eddie, you were just coming from New Orleans. I heard you off camera. We were talking about how much you travel. Do you spend more time on the road than you do at home? Is it safe to say that?
For sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, it's better than having a real job.
Right.
As I said, but. Obviously, this is a mad run. 6 events straight on the spin.
Yes.
And then as we get into July and August, we've got a couple of weeks.
Hold on. Name the events real quick. I love to do this.
Well, obviously, last week was Regis Prograis against Zorilla. We've got Edgar Berlanga this weekend against Jason Quigley at Madison Square Garden. Next week, we've got a brilliant domestic fight in the UK. Dalton Smith against Sam Maxwell in Sheffield.
I like
then
that.
The Friday after that, Diego Pacheco, our new superstar, is headlining for the second time in Mexico in a really big card. The week after that, one of our top cards of the year, really, Alicia Baumgardner defending her undisputed championship against Lennard 2. Montana Love against Richardson Hitchens, which we can't wait for. The professional debut of Andy Cruz as well. Suleiman Sissoko in a great fight, and Mark Castro in his first 10-rounder as well. And then July 22nd, we got a weekend off. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but we've got 29th, we've got AJ coming up, we've got Galauya Fire, we've got obviously...
Let's save that talk. Let's talk Edgar Berlanga, right? So
I'm finished.
Obviously, there's some pressure for Edgar.
Yeah,
this is his Matchroom debut, but not only that, what's ahead? That's what people are talking
Do you know what?
about.
I actually think this is a really tough fight for a couple of reasons. Firstly, this is Berlanga's first fight for over 12 months. Right. Secondly, Quigley's bang up for it, right? Madison Square Garden, Irish Andy Lee in the corner, etc. But also, we do have to think about this pressure of being all of a sudden a little bit of a poster boy, the increased promotion, fighting at home, and we saw it with Regis Prograis. He was very honest to say, I've kind of done a lot of media this week. Fighting at home, I guess I was a bit distracted. There is a lot of pressure now because my job is to hype these guys up that they're world beaters. I believe that, but they have to show it. Regis didn't show it last week for a couple of different reasons, mainly because Zorilla didn't really come to fight. But now Edgar's got all that responsibility on his shoulders because we're talking about Canelo Alvarez, we're talking about Gennady Golovkin, Billy Joe Saunders, Jaime Munguia. He needs to be sliding through this guy like a knife through butter.
You say you hype these guys up, but you also don't have a problem being honest, tearing them down sometimes.
Yeah, but because you can't have it both ways. I can't tell the world that Edgar Berlanga should be fighting Canelo Alvarez. And if he struggles against Jason Quigley, we cannot put him in with Canelo Alvarez. That's the reality of the situation. So
if he does struggle with Jason Quigley, will he still get a Munguia?
That's a great fight. I mean, look, I think if he goes and beats a Munguia, a Golovkin, a Billy Joe Saunders, maybe even a John Ryder, I don't know, then all of a sudden you're going, okay, we can see the Canelo fight. If he goes out and ices Quigley in 2 rounds in a knockout of the year and stands on the turnbuckle and says, it's
I'm
Puerto
a monster.
Rico in Mexico, let's go.
You think that can happen next if that's the
Look,
case?
I still think sometimes fights happen. You don't always have to earn it when it's big enough. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's a lot of fights that have taken place where we might say, but has he really earned it? If it's big enough, who cares if he's earned it? In my opinion, pending Saturday, I think he needs one more after Quigley at a higher level.
I would say that too.
Also for his development. When you put him in a fight like that, he's not out there to try and take a payday. But people don't realise that Edgar Berlanga was a top amateur, right? Nearly made the Olympic team, had a lot of success as an amateur, part of that great, system that you guys produced of a lot of top young fighters. He's a good fighter. This isn't like some random white collar guy that we've dragged out of Puerto Rico and said he's got a massive following in New York and he's a proper fighter. And he went for a stage of 16 first round knockouts on the spin. People can criticise the opposition. That's pretty unique.
No matter what.
And they were stepping him up slowly. So this is the toughest opponent of his career, really. Quigley's a top 15 guy. I'm not saying he's a Canelo Alvarez or a Gennady Golovkin, but he's a legitimate world championship level fighter. He lost to Demetrius Andrade. He was really shot at middleweight. Come now at super middleweight, he feels much better. I think he's going to give him a great fight.
I appreciate what you said about sometimes it's not about the guy earning a fight if he's big enough. This is a business, it's boxing, and some say that Ryan Garcia didn't earn the fight against Tank, but it was just a big enough fight. Speaking of Ryan, right? Oscar De La Hoya's Munguia's promoter. That's a possible fight for Edgar. The quarrel that you and him have back and forth, I know it's not that serious, but does that make does that help make the fight easier or more difficult to make?
The quarrel is unbelievably one-sided.
Yes.
I mean, I never reply on social media. I never really talk about it.
Well, you throw your little jabs here and there to respond.
Yeah, but after a while, like, listen, if I wanted to throw some jabs, I mean, I really...
No, that's true. I mean, you've always been respectful.
Yeah, but listen, the guy's a legend.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You always talk about
am I a better promoter than him? 1,000,000%. I mean, the guy just promotes in the US. He's got a thin stable, and he just does US shows. I mean, he had a couple of shows recently. I didn't even know they were on. Right. But I'm promoting around the world, but I respect him massively. Like, he's one of my favourite fighters. Right. So actually, I quite like it when he talks about me, because he's a great profile for me in America. Like, there's probably a few people who don't even know who Eddie Hearn is over here. He's got a massive platform, and all he's doing is talking about me. So, more the merrier. But in terms of making fights, look, you've got that side of Oscar De La Hoya, and then you've got the side of when he sees me in person. Like, he couldn't be more all over me. Oh, Cuddles, we got to do more business. We got to do
this. Is that how it really is?
Well, maybe that's him selling the fights.
Maybe, look, maybe he's selling it on social media. Good luck. And when we
sometimes promoters got a beef too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
have you talked about the Munguia fight?
No, not yet. I mean, Munguia's coming off a good win against Derevyanchenko, better level opposition.
Yes.
If I'm looking at Munguia, I'm thinking, where do we get this massive fight from? Like, he's going to have to roll the dice at some point. I think Canelo against Munguia is also a great fight. Yes. Like, two Mexican fighters. I think stylistically it's a tremendous fight as well. But Munguia against Berlanga, Munguia against Ryder as well. Great fight. Wow. He's kind of like a gatekeeper to those top guys. So we'll see.
I haven't thought about that Munguia against Canelo in a while though. But I definitely want to see Munguia against Edgar Berlanga, no matter what. I definitely want to see that fight. Okay, so you're saying that this might be a tough fight for him. What's the ideal ending for you in your mind? The ideal ending?
Because I really like Jason Quigley as well. You know, he's a really nice guy.
He
but
is.
Ultimately, if we're talking about Edgar Berlanga, the statement is a devastating finish and a devastating knockout. The kind of reel that gets played back again.
He's had a few of those.
He's had a lot of those. But this is now at a different level.
Yeah.
I want to see him do that, stand on the turnbuckle. Like we said, look, we know that not many fighters sell out arenas these days, right? You had a great fight recently with Teofimo and Josh Taylor, couldn't sell out the Hulu Theatre. This place is going to be sold out, it's going to be ramped, everything's there for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to go and produce, the good fighters, the special fighters will step up and produce the performance. But a showreel knockout and a statement is what we need from Edgar.
So you really believe if he knocks him out in the second round, he can get on the turnbuckle and call out Canelo?
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I would.
I was just expecting two fights. I was expecting you
so am I.
I was expecting.
But we need, if I'm Edgar Berlanga, and I won't be advising him to do anything like that.
Right.
But if I'm Edgar Berlanga and Keith Connolly, they want Canelo Alvarez, right? They're looking at it and they're going, we believe we can build a massive fight, Mexico against Puerto Rico, against Canelo. So I'm starting that process now. I mean, you hear him in interviews now. He's already talking about it. Right. But he also knows he's got to go through the stages. But I'm starting, if I'm Berlanga, I'm starting that train now. I'm getting on the turnbuckle. I'm screaming and shouting.
If Canelo responds, it's over.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
But one thing, again, I wouldn't tell him what to say. I'd be trying to go to Canelo Alvarez to a point where I go, I know what Canelo's like. If someone pisses him off,
push buttons. Yeah, you're right.
Mate, he's going to want to take him out.
Have you mentioned this fight to Canelo or Eddie Reynoso?
Yes, I've mentioned this fight to him.
What do they say?
I think they look at it for next year. Okay. I think they think, Canelo is also quite adamant in general about people, not in an arrogant way, earning their shot, but he's gone through some serious opposition to get to where he is now.
Yes.
And I feel that sometimes he looks at a fighter and thinks you need to earn your position, whether that's become a mandatory.
He said that before. Absolutely.
And I think when you look at some of his weaker opposition, Canelo, of which there isn't much over the last 3 years, they've all been mandatories. He's never taken a cherry, Yildirim and Ryder, for example, which was a tough fight.
Yes.
So, and he was coming back from injury. All the other fighters have been champions.
Top level guys. I wouldn't say Ryan Garcia though, not earn it. I would say Rolly. Still, big fight. Rolly against Gervonta Davis. No, we accepted that because it was a big fight.
Some people say he didn't earn it because he had no world title. He didn't have any big wins.
But sometimes, like, a fight gets made, like Canelo against Edgar Berlanga, right? And people go, Berlanga hasn't earned his shot, blah, blah, blah. And then the build-up starts, right? And you see the press conferences, and you see the Puerto Rican flags and the Mexican flags, then they come head to head.
And then they grab your heart, and you're in it. You're in it.
You're jam-packed, sold out. It's doing 1.5
You're right.
minutes.
You got me.
So, but, we all... we understand boxing.
Yeah.
We know to fight at that level, you have to prove you're that level. This is the first step on Saturday night.
Let's go.
You heard him. I mean, he's not expecting, but an ideal finish is a devastating knockout from Edgar Berlanga. Mr. Eddie Hearn.
Introducing the new DAZN Boxing Show podcast. No matter the time or the place, getting your boxing content has become easier than ever. Tune in as we give you exclusive insights, predictions, fight night recaps, and more alongside the biggest names in the game, all for free. Available globally every Thursday across all audio streaming platforms and with new episodes dropping weekly to give you the latest news. Just type in the DAZN Boxing Show podcast, listen in, and enjoy.